In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to work with lighting effects. The original photo for this looked like this. So we went from something like this and working with different gradient fills and direction methods, plus using masks and brushes, we were able to create something like this. Another version that I created looks like this. So the original photo and after. Same techniques, just different colors and brushes. So let's get started. First, I'm going to start off with my hummingbird. And I'm going to either pen tool him out, quick select him, but either way select and then make a new layer. Don't worry if it's not the best selection, as long as you get most of him. You can clean that up later when you put a mask on the hummingbird. Alright, now that he is overall selected, we're going to do Command J. And this way he has no back now. So we take this out. Again, it's pretty choppy, but we can clean all this up later. And some of it will just go in naturally with the effects we're going to use. So I'm going to HB1, keep that as background. And then let's get into it. So we're going to go to Adjustment Layers, and we're going to go to Gradients. And here you can click right on the gradient. And right here, that's where your color is. And then you come down to Color. And then go ahead and pick your colors. I used blue and pink, reddish, because I knew it was making a purple. So, it really just depends on the tone that you want to set. Maybe it's a good and evil story. Maybe it's a love story. Whatever it is, think about your colors and that understanding. You can come here, move that a little bit. Also, this is location. It's just figuring out like how far you want to spread that. You see that's pushing along there. And then everything looks good here. You're going to push OK. And then this is where you can change that. So I want the red or pink, actually, pink coming from that direction. And then that's great. And so with this, I'm just going to come to here and then color. I'm going to do Command J on that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to double click right on the icon, click on that, and then make this a blue color. Click OK, and then I'm going to rotate that. Great. Come up here again, make sure it's color, which it is, and then we will name this Blue Grade 1. Now you want to come back down here to your pink grade. You want to do Command J again. But with this one, we're going to keep exactly the same, only we're going to change this to a soft light technique. Right like that. And you can see how that changed right there. Let me show you. Without it, with it. So it's changing those tones and hues in the image just a little bit. And then let's go back up to our blue, Command J, and soft light. And then also with these, it can be really powerful and take over. So with the soft light ones, let's bring that down to about between like 10 and 20%. Okay, so I'll go at like a 15, 16, and let's bring that down again. There we go. That really helps there. Then the last thing you want to do for this part is come up to your adjustments again and go to Curves. This can really set the tone. You can make it really dark, you can make it light. So if I take this center and come all the way up, it really bleaches it out. If I come all the way down, it really makes it dark. Okay, and there we go. So we have curves, we have soft light, color, soft light, color, and the original one. Now this is where we want to make a new layer, and we want to call this brushes 1. Because we might do more than that. And then also, you can already add a mask on here and come down to that hummingbird and add a mask as well. Now on my brushes, on the one that I can actually work with, the layer thumbnail, that's where I'm going to paint. And then if I need to edit or cut anything out, I'll come over here and do that. So I'm going to color pick. If you do I, It does the eyedropper. And I'm going to come and pick this sort of pinkish color. And you can always double click on there and, you know, change that if you want a little brighter, a little darker. That's fine too. Go to my brush, which is B, hotkey B. And then I'm going to find the brushes I want to work with. Now, I downloaded these brushes. You can find any of these. These are for dispersion effects. So go ahead and just Google free dispersion brushes and you got them. And again, it really just depends on what you want to do. But I think I'm going to do, let's try explosion brushes. Okay, and I'll show you how this works because there's a hard edge on here, but it's a really cool looking brush. And I'm going to come over here and swirl this around. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, coming up here, sort of the safe zone. I'm going to do my left bracket, make this a little bit smaller. I might not want 100% opacity over here, so this whole layer right here is going to be like maybe at 60% opacity. Let's see how that looks. Okay, and even though it's a pink, it can show up blue because of the gradient effect. Now I can come over here and let's just see what this looks like in a white. You know, so a little bit brighter, you might want that. And you also want this under the hummingbird. So I'm going to do a little bit smaller and I think a little bit less because you want to build these up differently. Okay, and I think that looks good. And so what I can come here, you can see obviously that heart edge. I'm going to come over to this side of it, make sure I'm on black, which I am, and then come up to my soft brush here, left bracket, make it smaller, and then go ahead and paint that away. And there we go, it looks natural there. And again, this is a lot of back and forth, a lot of play here. Coming up to my brushes again. Let's see. Again, whatever I paint here, it's going to be at that 28%. But that's some really nice like effects going on. And it is white, but it will still pick up those tones of the pink and the blue, which is really good. Again, you can use the pink and the blue tones as well. It's really what you want it to be. And so I'm going to do a new one, a new brush layer. And I'm going to do a mask on that as well. So come up here, and I'm going to make these ones a little bit brighter. So, might be a little too much. Again, I don't really know exactly what they're going to look like, so I'm just playing around. There you go. So I think we picked this one before, but let's make it smaller and brighter. So I'm going to come up here, maybe not 100, but let's go 80% and a little bit smaller. Oh, and I'm glad I caught that. So I actually started doing it on here, which made no sense at all. So there we go. I'm going to come over here, and now I'm going to do it 80%, a little bit smaller. And look at that. So that's a really nice, just extra feature there. Again, if I don't want, you know, something, all I have to do is then come back over here to the mask, make sure I'm in black, go up to my soft brush, and make it smaller with my left bracket, and then go ahead and just paint that away. And there you go. So that is the concept there. The only other thing is like this fog, smoke type of thing, and that is actually another brush. So let's go maybe a little bit to my 28% opacity, and any of these you can bring up. So there we go. So maybe you really like the burst, or maybe I really like 50%. I want it to have a little bit more action to it. But let's see here. I'm going to go down to my powder. And these are really big brushes, so let's do one more for the powder brush specifically. And again, put on the mask. But make sure we're on this layer to paint. That's a little bit too bright though, so we're going to bring that down. And there we go. So maybe do one more. Bring it down a little bit. There we go. If I click a little bit more, I'll make it a little bit more visible. back a step or two, or what I could really do is just paint it back and do brush again, and there we go. So I can paint with that, and I can also paint off with that. So if we still want like a natural edge like that gives us, that's what we can do. So maybe I want to come down here and paint that back a little bit. Great. And so I told you before, I might have not had the cleanest of cuts here with the hummingbird, so I can come back into my hummingbird over here, making sure, again, I'm on B for my brush, going to the correct brushes, making sure it's small enough. And then this is where you just take your time, really small here. Come back in and clean that up. I would do soft brush. So if I click, shift, click, and then Command G. And how I did the hummingbird, I just typed it out. And I then went over here. So if I even wanted it down here, over here, it would still pick up those. So that's pretty cool. That's why I really like overlay. But it will also pick up like the brush techniques here, which is nice too, making it a little bit different. And that is how we work with lighting effects. So again, it's all about the gradients and how that works, and working with brushes to really pull that out. So here's the one. Again, here is sort of the queen one I made using the same techniques, and here's my original. So slightly different with the pink and the blue, a little bit different brushes, but there you go.